In today's video, we're talking about basic tight end drills. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here, and today we're going to be talking about basic tight end drills. The reason I wanted to do this video, I just kind of had a thought when I uploaded my offensive line stance and start drill video that this is basically the same thing you need to start day one with tight ends with. And we're just going to go over some basics. There's really nothing different. But for you tight end coaches out there, make sure that when we start football day one that you're working like just anybody. Just make sure that you're working stances and starts, because like if you're just working routes with your tight ends, if you have traditional tight ends in your group, like a legitimate tight end, because there are times, and I've been on coaching staffs where the tight ends have went with the offensive line. I've been the offensive line coach and had tight ends with my offensive line, and so to me it's nothing different. They're still involved in the run game. They're also involved in the pass game as well when you get to considering routes that they're going to be involved in and all the other things that tight ends do. So they're really hybrid players, and so they've got to be able to do both. But the thing that I always see is that tight ends, when they're neglected from the offensive line group and with offensive line coaches, I mean, you've got to preach like proper stance. You have to preach proper steps all the time. I mean, it's just part of what we do. And you can't overlook the small details like on stance. And that's just coming from me. I've been offensive line coach for 5 years now, and I see it now, and I can see a poorly coached tight end from one that you can tell the difference between a great tight end and a poorly coached one. I can just tell you that. And it's all a lot of it's just based on where you start. It's your stance and your first step. I've seen tight ends take really crappy steps to their block, and it's just not efficient. And so if we just get into a basic stance, just a basic 3-point right-handed stance, what I do, and this is just how we teach our offensive line currently, is that they've got sort of a stagger here. This is my left foot. It's just slightly above my right. My right hand's down, and about where my toe is about in line where the edge of that little Nike symbol is, like was it the little check mark there. But that's where that toe is, just as a comparison, just on those shoes there. But like I was saying, you just get down, nice balanced stance, and they can be able to move. Like tight ends day one, you need to have them all be able to get down to the different stances that you use within. Even if they're primarily even receivers, but if they're going to line up as a tight end and you're going to be responsible for coaching them, make sure, like if you have the tight end group, make sure that you work these things. So like I said, just with that, like here's a left-handed stance, same thing. Just kind of look where my toe is in comparison. Like on these cleats here, I got that Nike check, and it's about just midway through about halfway through the foot there. So just as a good place to start. As far as like a 2-point stance, kind of a good place if what we teach our tackles, if you want to put your tight ends in a 2-point, maybe they may not have to be as based. You can probably balance them just a little bit more, but any advantage that you can do to get your tight ends to get off the line quicker, probably be beneficial. As far as like taking a first step in zone schemes, we teach a 45-degree first step. That was my second. That's my 1-2 step right there. But we take a 45-degree step, hard and fast into the ground, making contact. Like those are all simple things you can teach day one. So those are all little things. Teach them how to step the right way. Teach them hand placement. It's beneficial for tight ends, especially in blocking schemes. No matter what kind of blocking scheme you use, they're going to have to be able to block just like offensive linemen. It's just how it goes. So, like I was saying with steps, here's that first step that I'm taking, that 45-degree. We call it just a 45 step. because the reason we call it a 45 step is that I'm taking my toe. If my target is over here, I'm lined up. There's an outside shade. If I am a tight end here, got somebody on the outside of me, I'm going to take a hard right step, and I'm going to make contact on my second step. The first step, we're just trying to get quick into the ground, kind of the principle behind that. And then we're just trying to obviously take that step, load up our hands. I like to load up my hands. With the way we teach our players is we like to load our hands at the belly button. I'm kind of doing that right here, but we don't want our hands like back. Like we want to keep our hands in tight to about where our belly button is, and then we explode up. And that's the same thing you can teach tight ends to do. You don't have to teach them anything drastically different. And the key is that, I get a lot of hits on this channel based on like people looking for tight end drills. I don't know what I've done, but like people want that kind of stuff. But the deal is there's just not a lot of stuff about tight ends, but we're overcomplicating the game about tight ends because, guys, it's nothing different. Get an offensive line book and go through and you'll see the same kind of stuff, because tight ends and offensive line, they're just like a tight end is almost like the extension of the offensive line, because the purpose of you use a tight end is to get extra blockers. I mean, they've been using a tight end, and an end has been in football since like the dawn of man, since like football has ever began. So it's just an extension of the offensive line. Don't overcomplicate the stance and the start and the steps that go involved with blocking. Do the blocking scheme that y'all do, like whatever your team does, whether you run more like power, counter, gap scheme type stuff, or you do more zone read type things. Like it's all going to use the same stances and steps, and the steps will be a little bit different based on what you're going to be required to do within that play, obviously. But like just overall, just like base blocking stuff, like stuff that I'm doing and teaching my guys day one, that's nothing different. So tight end, like I said, get an offensive line book. I recommend this one. It's sold by Coach's Choice, or you can find it on Amazon. It's Complete Offensive Line by Rick Trickett. It's a great one because like it shows you everything. And I probably can't show you everything in this book, but I'm just showing you, like, here's just like an example of just like steps. Like, I mean, it's simple stuff, but you don't have to like this. If you don't coach offensive, or if you coach tight ends, like this is a great resource, because I'm just going to tell you, there's not a whole lot of tight end heavy resources out there. Maybe I need to do it. Maybe that's a cash grab I can get on top of. But like I said, it's not anything overly complicated. Now, when you start putting time together, how much time can you actually spend on blocking within your practice? I think with your tight ends, I think you can spend, if you have time, I think you can spend 4 to 5 minutes on it and get quality work out of your tight ends. And then if you've got to install passing concepts, you've got to install new things for the tight ends to know before you get to team, before you get to a game, you can obviously do that. So like I said, I think at least if you had 15 minutes of, say, a practice time, whereas you as the coach has got to get some work in with the tight ends, 4 to 5 minutes of blocking isn't going to be much. But like I would say, as long as you're probably not running overly long practices either. But I'm just thinking it from a small school environment like I work. Obviously, if you have more time to work that stuff, I mean, that's great. And you can dedicate more time to that. We just don't have that kind of luxury. We have to get it done. So, but personally, I think you can get a lot done with tight ends using a lot of offensive line drills. There's just not – I think you can get a lot more done with teaching them exactly how the offensive line is taught. And because you can see it sometimes where the offensive line all looks one way in their stance, and then the tight end, like, he just looks different. And I've seen it even in colleges. It's just different. So it's not just a high school problem. I mean, it's in college. In the pros, you don't really see it because, I mean, to me, the pros seem like they're the best of the best. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was simple. I know there wasn't a whole lot to it, but like, guys, I literally just went through drills. Like, if this wasn't what you were looking for, I'm sorry. Like, if you need me to draw it out better, but guys, this is freaking stance and starts. This is how you start the beginning of the year. So, like, if you're not doing this kind of stuff early on, like, you're doing your tight ends wrong. You're doing a disservice as a coach. So make sure that you're teaching them the right things about stance and starts. It's important because it's the little things like this are going to win you games in the fourth quarter. It's going to win conference championships. It's going to win state championships. I'm just saying. Like, it has to be done the right way. So is my way the right way? Probably not. But I'm just saying, like, the fancy drills that you learn at a clinic sometimes, fancy drills you see at college, aren't always going to be the most applicable thing because all your tight end, think about it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, guys that play tight end in college are going to be different than the tight ends that you're going to coach in high school or at the youth level. They're just different. So make sure that you're teaching these small details to your tight ends. That's all I got to say on this whole topic. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like what you see here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and be checking back for more videos. Thank you guys for watching this video here on Football Week when we talk about all things football. This week, it's been an exciting time and to do this stuff. So I just wanted to say thank you guys as always. And be sure to check out our private Discord page. If you want to check out and talk in our coaching forum that we have in there in Discord that we have. There's some coaches in there that talk sometimes, and I get in there and talk as well. And we'll see you guys next time. I'm Mr. Football, and I'm out of here.
Perfect.